This is the all-new Cadillac Escalade. It's the 2021, and for over 20 years, Cadillac has been dominating the full-size luxury SUV market, and this is going to be no different here. Before we get into all of that, let's first talk about the trims offered for 2021. So you do get a lot of different trims and options here. You have the luxury as your base trim, the premium luxury, the sport, the platinum, and a platinum sport. All of those can be had in the standard size or the ESV size, which is the larger platform, and can be had in two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive configurations. With that, let's take a look at the exterior design here. Again, this is a new design for 2021, and there's quite a bit to cover. All right, and for exterior design, it is all about presence. And this is a completely new design, bringing that presence into the modern day. We have a new interpretation of the vertical lamp signature with horizontal headlights. We've got that massive Cadillac grille up front, along with a lot of extra little details, including around the fog lamps. Moving along the side, we have 22-inch 10-spoke alloy wheels, polished with dark Android finish and laser etching. We also have power running boards, and these running boards have LED lights integrated into them, so when you come up to the vehicle at night, you can see it is illuminated on the ground. And then moving around to the back, you have the signature tall vertical rear lights with deep detail and three-dimensional layers. They are really cool. The closer you get to looking at them, they have a lot of detail in them. All right, and like I said, this is the non-ESV, so this is the shorter of the two. But your overall wheelbase here is 120.9 inches. Your overall length is 211.9 inches. Width is 81.1 inches and height is 76.7 inches. This is a big vehicle. All right, so let's check out in that hatch right here. First of all, you can pop just the glass here with a button on the back, and that'll pop open the glass. You can reach in and get stuff. But there's not a button that I found that pops the entire hatch. It didn't do the swipe underfoot thing, so you've got to have the key fob to pop this back hatch all the way. It is an automatic popping hatch. And again, the party piece of these big three rows is all that space that you get. We also have power folding rear seats and a 110-volt power plug back here. Behind that third row, you get 25.5 cubic feet of cargo space. Fold those down and you get 72.9 cubic feet. Fold that second row down and everything behind that first row is 21.1 cubic feet. If you're looking at the ESV, that has a total of 142.8 cubic feet of cargo volume. All right, let's close this up and then we'll check out what's under the hood. All right, and for 2021, you get two engine options for the Escalade. Under the hood here, we have a 6.2 liter V8 engine that pushes 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque, and is matched up to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Your other engine option is GM's 3-liter turbocharged Duramax diesel engine that pushes 277 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque, and is matched up to the same 10-speed automatic transmission. We have the 6.2 V8, which is probably the way I would go buying this thing, but I would be interested in driving that diesel engine. I've had it in other vehicles that GM makes, but in this I would be interested to see in just how it handles this big vehicle. All right, and with that, let's jump on the inside. We'll start with the third row seats, move into the second row seats, and check out everything that's new in the interior. Then we'll take it for a drive, and then we'll start wrapping the review up after that. All right, so we are in the third row. Let me first say I am 6'1", bigger guy, and I fit back here pretty comfortably as long as the seat's not leaned back too far. My knees can fit. I got decent hip room, shoulder room. There's USB Type-C ports on either side here. You get little cup holders as well. And the armrest here for the back seats actually even has a cushion on it, so that's pretty nice. There is a bit of a bulge here in the roof line so that taller people like myself can sit comfortably. And overall, the third row seat is not a penalty. It's a decent place to be, but really up here in the second row and obviously up in the driver's seat is where it's at. So let's move up to the second row and start talking a little bit about that. All right, so we are here now in the second row. Very comfortable captain's chairs, very nice plush materials, plenty of room, plenty of leg room, foot room. These seats can scoot forward and back. This is pushed back as far as it will go. They'll also recline back. And second row passengers get a lot of amenities, including these 12.6-inch touchscreen displays on either side. You can interface a lot of different things on here, including through HDMI. You can also interface into the vehicle's navigation system. You can watch the progress of where you're going. You can actually even send destinations to the driver. Lots of really cool features there. We have a little pull-out cup holder. We have our USB Type-C and HDMI ports back here. We get our own AC controls with their own vents. Nice speakers, which we'll talk more about when we get into the front seats. Obviously, this big panoramic sunroof that comes back to the second row. But again, it's cool back here. Got a lot of stuff you can do, but that driver's seat is where it's at. Let's finally get into that driver's seat. We'll wrap up some of the materials, the audio, the technology in this thing, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, first off, the interior color is called Whisper Beige with Gideon accent. Very nice looking, very comfortable seats here. They are heated, cooled, massage seats. You get a lot of really cool materials, including this wood, nice stitched leather, this cloth material here as well. And all of this is designed after Cadillac's concept vehicles that they've been showing off the last couple of years. I'll go ahead and say, personally, I like the looks of the white, but I can never actually buy a vehicle with white interior, especially these carpets. They're already pretty dirty as a loaner vehicle. If I own this thing, I assume it would be trashed super quickly with the kids. But all in all, it looks really nice. And there are 9 different interior combinations, and they do have a full black, which I think I would prefer. But as cool as these seats are and as nice as they do look, that's not the party piece of this interior. Let's check out this new infotainment screen we've got here. So this is an all new flowing screen design from Cadillac using super thin OLED panels. These are curved OLED screens with 38 total inches of diagonal space. Let's kick it on real quick and show you what we're dealing with here, including our startup screen, which is pretty cool in itself. All right, so you do have a total of 3 screens here. All of them combined have 4K worth of pixels with vibrant colors and deep blacks. Thanks to that OLED technology, you can tell it is a driver-centric display, so everything is easy to touch and easy to see from the driver's perspective. The whole thing is wrapped in leather and features a backlit Cadillac crest on the rear of here, which lights up when you approach the vehicle, which is pretty cool. So going through our screens here, you have a driver's information screen on this side that is 7.2 inches. And this features things like trip information. You can change your head-up display through this as well. You can also configure what you see in your driver information screen through here, looking at your gauges, looking at a map. You have your augmented reality camera system here, so it'll show the front camera and overlay things like navigation information on top of this. And you have a night vision camera. Let's just throw it back into the gauge here. And that cluster display is a 14.2-inch display. Very bright, very crisp. And again, those blacks really make everything else pop and stand out. Moving over to the infotainment display, that is a 16.9-inch screen. It is a touch screen and very responsive. Cadillac's infotainment system here looks really nice on the screen. Again, everything being very bright, very contrasty, easy to see, easy to touch. We do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, as well as wireless Apple CarPlay. But overall, this screen really reminds me of what Mercedes has been doing the last couple of years with their one large panel with two screens in it. But I really think that this implements that design a lot better. I really love the extra screen on the side over here, and then these things look really good. My only one sort of complaint, which is the same that I get with the Mercedes, is this rectangular screen here is cut off by the circular steering wheel. So if you do have anything up in the corners here, you do have to kind of look around them to see. But I think the UX knows this and doesn't put too much information up in those corners. So you can position your wheel to be comfortable and still see most of the screen. But we also have that head-up display, which is a good size. It's bright. GM's been doing head-up displays for a long time, and they are one of the best in the business with them. Another killer feature in here is the AKG Studio Reference System with 36 speakers throughout the vehicle. This is a new collaboration with Cadillac and AKG, and man, do these things sound really good. There's a lot of features like conversation enhancer, so you can turn it on normal or high. This will take from the front microphones and pump sound into the rear of the vehicle so that the driver can talk to rear passengers easier without yelling. It's a little bit weird to have it on all the time, so I usually keep it off, but it is a great feature, especially for families. You can also set the front passenger volume to a specific amount or sync it to everybody else. You can have lighting effects on with the music. You can change the sound mode, so you can have it in the front towards the rear, or you can do the 3D sound, and you can really pick where you want that sound coming from and going to. Very cool stuff there. And just a ton more with this system and the speakers in the AKG Studio Reference System. We also have a 360 camera system in here, great for trailering stuff. But what's really cool is this 360 view that you can do, and you can really point it and see everything around you by picking the camera that you want. This is a really, really clean system here. And if you're parking this big old thing and you really want to make sure you've got nothing around you, or if you're doing a little bit of light off-roading and you want to make sure that you're not about to hit something, this comes in handy for sure. You can do a front view, rear view, obviously. You can get special views for the trailering. You have different trailering modes here. We have different apps featured here. OnStar services, obviously, your ambient lighting setup. So you can choose a color, or you can have it a more rotating color. Just so much to dive into, but we're going to go ahead and move on from this. Let's look a little bit further down and see what else is going on. So down from that infotainment display is our AC and heat controls here. All laid out really well and easy to figure out what's going on. Moving further down from that, you can see we have a USB Type A and USB Type C port right here, along with these cup holders and cubby that can be closed up. We have our electronic gear shifter here. Back behind that gear shifter is an auto hold, your auto start stop, and your lane keeping assist features. Behind that is your volume control and interface buttons for the infotainment system, as well as a dial to interface with that infotainment system, and a home and back button and your emergency lights. And then behind all that is a little slot for your phone, but it's also a wireless charger. So you throw your phone into there and it will start charging it wirelessly. Back a little bit further is your armrest and console. Nice padding here. Escalade engraved back here. Nice materials. Next up, you have more USB type A and C ports here, and we have a cooler. So you can just turn the cooler on here, throw some drinks in here, and it keeps them super cold. And we'll quickly look at some of the controls here by the door. We have our heated and cooled seat buttons, lock and unlock obviously, windows, side mirrors. You do have programmable seating positions. We also have some of our four-wheel drive controls. So we have 2 high, 4 high. We have our terrain modes here. We have our driving modes here. We can lift the vehicle, we can lower the vehicle. We have some trailering controls down here and our electronic parking brake. All right, and let's lastly look at our steering wheel here. Now you can get a couple of different steering wheels. There is an Escalade with some autonomous driving features that has a little camera here that will pay attention to the driver and also has a light bar up here. This one doesn't have that obviously, but this is a heated steering wheel, very nice and comfortable. Lots of controls, kind of the standard GM setup on the steering wheel here, but it looks really nice. And of course that Cadillac crest dead in the center. But there's not much else too exciting on that front. I think it's time to take this thing for a drive. All right, so first off, as you might expect, the ride from this Escalade is really great. Very comfortable, smooth ride, and some of that comes down to the longer wheelbase here in the 2021 and the all-new independent rear suspension. We also have Cadillac's magnetic ride control, which reads the road 1,000 times per second to make sure that the suspension in the vehicle knows exactly what's coming up, so it can adjust for that. We have the ride adaptive suspension, which will increase or decrease the ride height up to 4 inches either way. So it'll lower it for highway purposes, it'll lower it for ingress and regress. It will raise it for off-roading or for most normal driving. And you can definitely hear that when you get out of this vehicle and you park. You can hear that suspension actually lowering itself. It's like an air suspension. You can hear it. It freaked me out at first, but it's a pretty cool thing to have, and definitely gives you a little bit more confidence if you do have to take this thing off-road, that you can raise it up an extra 4 inches to make sure that you're clearing any obstacles. The all-new Cadillacs also have available what Cadillac dubs Super Cruise. Now, this is a driver assist system, the augmented driving. It reads the road ahead of you, it steers for you, brakes for you. You can signal it to switch lanes, kind of like you can in a Tesla. And from what I've seen, it seems like a pretty advanced system, but obviously ours does not have that, so I can't tell you 100% for sure. But again, from what I've seen, it seems like a pretty advanced system. And the EPA numbers show 15 miles per gallon city and 20 miles per gallon highway. And here in this V8 powered Escalade, we're averaging 15.6 miles to the gallon. That's not necessarily exactly what you would get if you own this and drove it every day. Obviously, we leave this thing idling as we're taking pictures and videos. Sometimes we push on it probably a little bit harder than we would if we own this thing for testing purposes, of course. But 15.6 miles to the gallon for a big 3-row SUV with the V8 under the hood, it's not terrible. But I can definitely say the amount of comfort and luxury that you get in this Escalade is definitely superb. The new OLED panel here, I love it. I love the triple screens that all really integrate well with each other. Everything is easy to reach and touch. The infotainment is quick and responsive, nice and contrasty, easy to see and figure out what you're doing. You've got all the tech amenities that you might want, like the wireless charging, the wireless Apple CarPlay. You've got all your easily accessible buttons here on the steering wheel, so you can keep your hands firmly planted. You got plenty of room for the family in the back to stay in comfort. And again, these heated and cooled seats are really comfortable, and it's nice to have the heated and cooled functions in them. And massaging, heated massages are always the best. And again, obviously I haven't driven the diesel powered Escalade. I'm interested to see how that feels, but this V8 the 6.2 liter V8, plenty of power to get up and go, no matter the situation. If you're trying to enter a highway and you need that extra power, easily done. If you're just drag racing down a street because of the fun of it, easily done. If you've got the family packed in here and luggage packed in here and this thing is weighed down, it still can get up and go. Which is great for these big SUVs. One of the things that I've noticed driving a lot of big 3-row SUVs, that's where it really comes into play, is if you've got it loaded down with a bunch of people and stuff, is the horsepower from that engine still going to be able to get up and go for you, or is it going to be lagged out from the weight? This V8 has no issues. So one of the big questions you might still have is, what is the price? What does this compete with? And would I get it for my family, or do I recommend it for you if you're looking at it for your family? Well, let's pull over and park, and then we'll talk about the price and competition, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it, and we'll wrap the video up there. Let's get it. All right, guys, so let's talk about competition and price. First off, the base price for the base trim of the Escalade is $76,195. That's for the luxury trim. The premium luxury has a base price of $82,995. The Sport is $86,820. The Platinum that we're in here has a base of $99,995, and the Sport Platinum is also $99,995. So basically, we're starting out at a price of about $100,000 for what you see here. We do have some options in this vehicle, so our total MSRP for what I'm sitting in now is $109,500, and that's a lot of money, but you are getting a lot of stuff. And when you start comparing it to some of the competition, it might make a little bit more sense at that price. So one of the first things you might think about when you think competition for an Escalade is the Lincoln Navigator. Your base price range for that is anywhere from $77,000 at the base to $101,000 for their premium. And that vehicle has the 3.5 liter turbocharged V6, that EcoBoost under the hood. You can't get a V8 in the Navigator anymore, so there's a trade-off there. You might get better fuel economy there, but you definitely have the power of a V8 under the hood here. And as far as size goes, that's really one of the only vehicles that competes with this thing in size, but obviously there are other 3-row luxury SUVs. You could look at the Lexus LX. The LX has a price range of $89,000 to about $93,000. Has that 5.7 liter V8 under the hood, but the LX still has some really old technology in it. There's a lot that I'm not thrilled about when I drive that thing. The last time I reviewed one was probably about a year ago or so. I'll leave it down in the description or in the iCards if you're interested in that. But definitely go check out that. Wasn't super happy with the LX. I'm pretty sure Lexus is working on a new one. Be interested to jump in and drive that, but that's where we're sitting today. Another one that I've recently reviewed is the Infiniti QX80, big 3-row SUV with the V8 under the hood. That one's the 5.6 liter V8. Your price range in that is anywhere from $70,000 to about $85,000. And again, I recently drove that and I like it. I like it a lot more than I used to, but there are things about it that would keep me from buying it, especially buying it over this. Definitely go check out that review if you're interested. And then to some vehicles that I haven't driven that this definitely competes with, the BMW X7 has a base price anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000. And that has a 4.4 liter V8 under the hood. You can look at the Mercedes GLS. That price ranges from $77,000 to about $140,000. And again, you can get a 4 liter V8 under the hood there. Again, those aren't going to compare in size to this, but definitely in luxury. And they are at least 3-row. And then if you want to talk about a new kid on the block, you have the all-new Genesis GV80. Now, standard, that is a 2-row SUV, but the top-end trim can have 3 rows. The price range there is about $65,000 on the base. It comes with a 3.5 liter turbocharged V6. So again, I haven't driven it. Don't know if it really compares with this or the other ones, but Genesis is making a lot of great moves, and for the price, it might be worth it if you're looking for 3-row and you don't need this big of a vehicle. All right, well, it's getting late. I've rambled a lot so far in this review. Let's jump back out of the vehicle. Let's wrap everything up with some final thoughts, and we'll wrap up the video there. All right, guys, so final thoughts on the Escalade, the all-new Escalade. I really love a lot of the features that they've put into this thing over the previous generations. That screen just does it for me. Really love it. Love the interior materials. Personally, I would go with the black instead of a white just because white gets so dirty so fast. I do like this color, but personally I would go with a black or maybe even a white, but I think the black with the sport blacked out grille, or even this one with as much chrome as it has, I think it looks really nice. For the price, if you're looking at any of the competition, I don't know why you wouldn't spend your money on this over the rest of the competition, especially if you want something large. Now, if I was getting one, the GMC, maybe I would get the Yukon Denali over the Escalade just because kind of my style. I'm not that flashy of a person, I feel like. So I feel like my style would be more the GMC Yukon Denali, but this definitely offers some stuff that doesn't, and I quite liked it. So at the end of the day, if you've got the money for this thing, you're looking for a 3-row luxury SUV, really there's not much that you can get better than this. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the all-new Escalade. Be sure to go check out TXGARAGE.com for written reviews, news, and event coverage. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.